In case you forgot what day it is the end of the week and the start of a new month. This is your Daily Detroit for Friday, May 1st, 2020. I'm J.R. Stays.
I'm Randy Walker.
And I'm Sven Gustafson.
On today's show, updates on what's becoming a tense situation in Lansing, to say the least. The owner of the Brooklyn Nets is sending a bunch of personal protection equipment to Detroit. Plus, me and Randy go through some of the top places we've had so far to pick up some local eats. Let's jump in. Armed gunmen hit the Capitol in Lansing on Thursday. It began with what was called the American Patriot Rally, organized by Michigan United for Liberty to call for businesses to reopen. They specifically asked attendees to not bring Trump signs so that it did not look political. But on the front lawn, people were, with said signs, as well as those disparaging the governor and calling for people to ignore the advice of billionaire philanthropist Bill Gates. He correctly warned that we were not prepared for a possible pandemic years ago. They then moved inside the Capitol building and gathered to chant tyranny outside the State House chambers. Video reports from the scene show the protesters were clearly not following social distancing guidelines. Many lawmakers on the Democratic side tweeted photos of the armed protesters, saying that they were yelling at them and expressing their worries. There were reports of some lawmakers wearing bulletproof jackets. A number of people were removed from the closed gallery seating, and a reporter from Michigan Advance said she was struck in the head with a rifle by one of the protesters. Meanwhile, Republican State Representative Matt Maddock, a figure we've talked about before due to his strong opposition to mass transit and regional cooperation, went through the group thanking them. The state Senate and House, controlled by Republicans, also took up a measure today to limit Governor Gretchen Whitmer's emergency powers. It will surely be vetoed when it reaches the governor's desk. They've also authorized a lawsuit challenging the Democratic governor's authority to fight the pandemic.
These are extraordinary scenes from the Capitol. This seems like a new low in decorum in the state Capitol. I mean, this is unbelievable. People carrying automatic rifles, AK, AR-47s, whatever they are, I don't know, in the Capitol rotunda. It's crazy. These are shocking scenes. And you can't even, a lot of people are pointing out that the legislature years ago banned people from bringing in signs. So you can't carry a picket sign into the Capitol building, but yet you can carry an automatic weapon. I mean, it's just crazy. That's lunacy, and it's dangerous, and wow.
Well, and House and Senate leadership could put a squash on this if they wanted to.
Of course, but they're egging it on.
One of the things that I noticed on Twitter that was interesting, Jeff Timmer, who is a longtime Michigan GOP guy, he's worked, he's a strategist, and he's worked, and this is a tweet that he had, I worked with every Republican leader in both the Michigan House and Senate, very closely with most, from 1990 to 2014. This crazy bat would never have been sanctioned, not by any. And that's the thing that worries me, is that this kind of behavior feels like the wheels are coming off the train. I understand that there's a lot of frustration across Michigan. We covered in depth a report from the Detroit Regional Chamber talking about a poll that said 41% of folks in the Traverse City media market are feeling the bite of unemployment. But sure. I also don't think that this is the way to go. But it also strikes to me this I never thought science would become political. And those are the two things, the lack of respect of each other, and then science becoming politics in such a strong way feels like we're stepping backwards.
Well, polling has shown that pretty strong majority of people, I think I saw 65% in the most recent poll, support Governor Whitmer and her stay-at-home orders. I mean, people are scared by the coronavirus. You cannot deny that. People are frightened for their personal health. And polling has consistently shown, I mean, not just here in Michigan, that people are in favor of stay-at-home and let's bend the curve. And we're concerned about the economy, but this is more important. Here you've got people, I mean, once again, the signage is nasty. I've seen all these photos with Confederate flags, and somebody had a noose hanging from some sort of contraption with a sign about how Epstein didn't hang himself, referring to the Jeffrey Epstein, the creepy financier guy. I mean, this is this is the tinfoil hat crowd, right? Like the conspiracy black helicopter people, these guys dressed in camouflage pants holding these assault rifles and things. I mean, I'm just curious. I don't think that uh, outside of the core sort of supporters here, I don't think that these protesters are going to do their movement much good. I'll be really curious to see kind of how the poll results are affected by this later on.
Social media is amplifying so much of the hyper minority's voice. If you are loud, but there's only a few people that agree with you and they all retweet you, then it's going to look like you have a large presence, when in fact that's just not the case. That's true on the left and the right.
Well, two observations here. If these protesters weren't armed with, assault rifles and some of these awful signs and Confederate flags and everything, I don't think that they would be getting necessarily the same amount of attention that they are, because these, from what I've been able to see, I've seen some overhead shots. This is not a huge protest. Like most people that I've seen have pegged it at below 1,000 people, estimates anyway. The other thing, as a lot of other people have pointed out on Twitter, if this was like a Black Power group, for example, with a bunch of black people up there with assault rifles, I hate to say it, but like, what would the reaction be? I don't even want to go down that road because I think it would be just incredibly ugly. I mean, we've just gone off the rails here. I'm just going to leave it there.
After all of this, Governor Gretchen Whitmer has extended her order closing a number of places of public accommodation until May 28th. As before, this includes places like theaters, bars, and casinos. In order to maintain social distancing, the order also continues to limit restaurants to carry-out and delivery orders. Critics say that the cure can't be worse than the disease and that the economy should reopen faster, as well as question best practice guidelines from health officials. Although supportive of the governor, Mayor Mike Duggan said that he thinks non-essential medical procedures should reopen in Detroit, as there are about 700 empty hospital beds currently in the city. New data shows that although deaths have slowed in Detroit, coronavirus is starting to spread outstate, with some counties in western and northern Michigan having cases double every 6 days or faster. After all, the rest of Michigan has many of the same factors that were dangerous for Detroit. If you go back in your podcast feed, we spend an entire episode of the show talking about this with Citizens Research Council of Michigan Research Associate Tim Mischling. I hope you give it a listen. Joe Tsai, the owner of the Brooklyn Nets and a prominent executive with the Chinese e-commerce giant Alibaba, is donating 350,000 masks and 100,000 pairs of goggles through his foundation. He made the announcement with city officials Thursday. The supplies are expected to start to arrive early next week. Although the number of daily deaths from COVID-19 in the city are slowing, there are now more confirmed coronavirus deaths per capita in Detroit than New York City. Thought we would have a little bit of fun and give you a little bit of guidance, because during this pandemic, we are all not just eating in, but we're getting takeout, we're getting delivery, we're trying some of the best of Detroit's restaurants, but in a situation that's a little different. And joining me to talk about it, engineer Randy Walker. Randy, welcome back.
I am so sick of cooking. So for the last few weeks, I have been ordering out from local restaurants, and this is such a relief.
Yeah, for sure. I've got a few to contribute as well, because I live near Hamtramck, which is kind of nice to have with all the options happening there. But I figured we just kind of go down this list. I don't know if we really have an order to it, but these are some of the ones that we have found that are pretty good and kind of like, kick the tires on.
Yeah, I think my order is chronological from the time I started actually ordering out.
And then I just messed it all up by putting stuff in between it. So let's hang on for the ride.
So the first place I ordered from was Bobcat Bunnies in Ferndale, and they do daily themes. So Mondays is burger nights, and they usually have some sort of TV show or gimmicky related theme for the burger names. They do Taco Tuesdays on Tuesdays, and I took advantage of their barbecue day. So I ordered a slab of ribs with 2 sides. I got baked beans and jalapeno cornbread. I ordered some loaded tots as an appetizer, and I got a cocktail kit for their berry mojitos. And this was enough food for 2 people.
That's nice. Bobcat Bonnie's, to me, it feels like it's one of those standbys to kind of just be there. It's not too crazy expensive. It's, decent size. And they've got locations in a few different places, right? So you got Ferndale and then also Corktown.
Yeah, I believe only currently their Ferndale and Wyandotte locations are open, but they do have 5 locations when they're not.
And do they do delivery?
We're not in the middle of a pandemic. They did delivery, yes.
That's pretty nice. So one I would recommend that we did with one of those delivery services was the Balkan House. If you have not had the chance to get your doner kebab, it's the time to do it. And they've really figured out how they're going to pack all this stuff pretty well. It stays warm a good amount of time. Did the falafel, did, of course, the doner kebab, also the meat platter, and did the shavapi, which I know that you are such a big fan of, Randy.
Yeah, I really like Balkan House's food. I have ordered both in Hamtramck and in Ferndale, but I haven't done any pandemic ordering yet, so I might have to check them out next week or something.
Totally worth it. Now, an old standby that's been reopened is next on your list, Randy, right?
Yeah, so a few months, or I guess it's been almost a year now that they've been open, is Como's Pizza in Ferndale. I did a review of them when they initially opened, and they are still going strong. They are offering buy one, get one free pizzas, but not during the dinner rush. So if you want to take advantage of this offer, order your pizza before 5 or order your pizza after 8 p.m.
Well, since we don't know what day it is, we may as well go with we don't know what time it is. So just get the pizza when you want.
For sure. But I ordered 2 large pizzas and that fed my roommate and I for several days. Lots of leftovers. And we did pick up on that.
I know that that's also one of Sven's favorite places for pizza, and he's pretty persnickety about his pizza.
Yeah, it's a good Detroit style pizza. They've got some interesting topping combinations for their specialty pizzas, but you can order just the standard pizza toppings if you prefer.
This next one is a Polish favorite, recently opened, Rizk Pierogi. I'm sure I completely butchered that, but you can go ahead and find them online. And they do these for 2 boxes. I no longer have a Polish girlfriend, so therefore I no longer get homemade Polish food. And so this is a great option for you. It comes with 1 dozen pierogi, a package of kielbasa, a quart of soup. You get a quart of kapusta, rye bread, and then containers of sour cream, sauerkraut, and mustard. And this shifts up every once in a while. So, look on the website. But she does a really great job. I think it's, if I remember correctly, it is $50, but it's worth it. And it's a lot of food.
On Tuesday, I ordered wings from Jay's Penalty Box. Jay's right on Woodward in Ferndale does daily specials. So I took advantage of their 79-cent wings and ordered some buffalo, some teriyaki, and some barbecue, and then went for pickup again there. And all these places that offer pickup, it is super easy to do. You just order over the phone or on the website, and then when you arrive at the venue, you just call their business number and say, I've arrived to pick up an order for so-and-so, and they bring it out to the parking lot or the street for you. Open the door for them so they don't have to touch the door or pop your trunk, and then they just set it in your car.
I love the idea of wings in my trunk. I went down memory lane the other day. As a child of the East Side, for many, many years, Mama Rose's Pizzeria has been serving folks on Kirchhoff Lake Point over on the Detroit border there. And there have been multiple minor changes and aesthetic changes to the place over the years, but they still have the mama on the pizza box. And if you want to go for that old school feel, the one that I grew up with, what my standard of pepperoni pizza is you order it the round with the old school pepperoni, like the kind that kind of curls up, which is really nice. And then add sesame seed for the crust. I think that's really, really the key if you can do it, because it just adds a whole nother thing to it. It was so great to take a little trip down memory lane and be like, oh, this is the comfort pizza, but it's also darn good pizza and still holds up today.
Yeah, Mama Rosa's is right down the street from my favorite tiki bar, Lost River, and they're actually opening up orders this week for a pickup on Friday the 8th. You can order Gajiza frozen dumpling package and merchandise and drinks from Lost River. Unfortunately, they won't be offering tiki drinks. It's just beer and wine to go in Michigan.
The next one on the list is one I think that we both like, Randy, because, I love a good deli. That's Rocco's in Midtown.
Yeah, this is right on Cass, and this was my dinner last night. I got their meal to go, which included a take and bake pasta. They offer a vegetarian option or a meat option. I got the meat option, so it had a spicy ragu over penne rigate. It came with a green salad, a couple of slices of rustic bread, tiramisu for dessert, some light charcuterie for snacking, and a bottle of wine. And that whole thing was $50.
I mean, at first you go, well, it's $50. And at first you're like, wow, that's a lot. But on the other hand, there is a ton of stuff in all of these. And if you think about stuff like wine and everything else, it's kind of like a full service situation.
Yeah, as 4-course dinner with wine for $50 for 2 people, I think that's a reasonable deal. And again, I just did curbside pickup there.
Nice. Then there's some others to talk about. I know that Ferndale Project is a favorite of Sven's, and I also know you.
Yeah, they are offering pizza. They're offering frozen pasties, and they're offering their beer to go. Also offering takeout and pickup are Grey Ghost in Brush Park and Mabel Gray in Hazel Park.
Yeah, those are all great options. You mentioned a website people should check out.
If you want to know what restaurants in your area are offering takeout or delivery or curbside pickup, check out DetroitFoodUpdates.com. And if your favorite restaurant is not on there and you know they're open, have your restaurant contact the website because they're still keeping this up to date for people.
And we'd love to hear your suggestions too. I mean, we stuck to the ones that we knew were good and knew that they were going to come through for you. But if you've got some suggestions, go ahead and email us, dailydetroit@gmail.com. Randy, although we're stuck in our houses, I'm glad that we can still kind of eat through the city.
These restaurants are offering a great way to stay kind of connected.
Well, that is all for today's episode. Really appreciate you listening to this and all of our shows this week. It has been quite a journey with everything going on. Sven, I appreciate you. I also appreciate Cheyenne Noserini, Randy Walker, Fletcher Sharp, and everybody else who helps make this show possible, as well as our members at patreon.com/dailydetroit. I'm Jairus Daves.
And with that, I'm Sven Gustafson. Take care of each other, and we will get through this together.